All right, we are ready to hop on the California Zephyr, guys. It's gonna be a beautiful ride over. We're here in Emeryville, California. We are headed to Chicago, Illinois. Okay guys, so this trip was probably one of the most interesting Amtrak trips that we've done, but stay tuned to the end and we'll tell you how Amtrak made all of this craziness right. So guys, this is our first time riding from west to east. So we're looking forward to some great views, I believe on day 2. So this first day, we're just gonna be hanging out, reading some books, and just having some fun. All right guys, we're sitting here enjoying the view as we ride through California, but what is our first order of business, Rob?
Well, we gotta go check out the bathroom situation because you never know what you're gonna get. So we're gonna go see what it looks like. Now, we are on the bottom level and this is a Superliner 1, so I think they're gonna be pretty good bathrooms. And there's no one else down here, so we get all of them to ourselves. So I'll go see what it looks like. This is definitely a Superliner 1 bathroom, and you can tell because the toilet is angled. It's on a diagonal, and it's much bigger than what you're going to get on a Superliner 2. The other thing that you'll notice is that the sink is deeper, and there's a lot of space here, and when you hit the buttons, the water actually stays on for a little while. So this is definitely the preferred bathroom setup that you want. You want to be on a Superliner 1, so you never really know if you're going to get that or a Superliner 2, and they can even mix them. There can be one Superliner 1, one Superliner 2. So if there is a Superliner 1 bathroom on your train, find that, and you're going to be much happier than with the 2. So we've got 3 of them down here, so we're pretty set. I'm going to go check out the shower and see what that looks like as well. Okay, we got a nice little dressing area here with some towels to go on it and a bag to put your dirty towels. And then the other thing you're going to notice about these Superliner 1 cars is that they have this actual door which opens to go into the shower, and I think it's just nicer than the 2s. I'm not sure why that is. There's a nice seat there to sit on. And yeah, so this is the Zephyr. We do have a 1 car on here. It's quite a bit more comfortable than the 2 as far as the bathroom facilities go. A little later on, we'll show you some of the differences in the room, though, between the 2 types of cars.
Okay, so on the Zephyr, our first meal is going to be lunch as we took off from Emeryville. So Rob and I both chose a hamburger, and this is a really nice looking burger. It comes with Terra chips, coleslaw, which I've had before, and it is quite tasty. And then they put the lettuce and tomato, and sometimes they add onions to it, and that's on the side. And if you know me, you know I love carrot cake, so that's obviously what I chose for my dessert. Now, Rob wanted the flourless chocolate torte, which we are having trouble tracking down, but this looks absolutely delicious as a replacement chocolate lava cake. You cannot go wrong with that. And Rob got the same thing as I did. He got the burger as well. But we are excited to eat here in the room. Normally we eat in the dining car. We thought, why not watch the scenery and enjoy our lunch right here in our roomette. So one of the things that I always think is interesting is looking at the differences between the Superliner 1 and the Superliner 2. We tend to be in the Superliner 2s more often than we are in the Superliner 1, but today we are actually in the Superliner 1. So I wanted to show you a couple little things that I find either better or not as good in this Superliner 1 car. And one of the things that you need to note is that you never know which kind you're going to be in until you actually get on the car. As a matter of fact, the crew doesn't even know until they get on the train and they see if they're in a 1 or in a 2. So check this out right here. First off, this is a touchpad, which is a little different with the buttons on the Superliner 2. This button here is to call your attendant. I'm not going to touch that. And then here you can turn the ceiling light or your night light and then turn it off right there. So that could be good or it could be bad. Not really sure, because you could just tap those by mistake and set something off, which is probably why they switched it to the knobs. Then on this side, the other thing that I do like, and that just depends on what kind you have, but I like that this is recessed as opposed to a big box that's protruding out of the Superliner 2. And this is your button here, of course, for the air. It's the same basically as the other one, and the same thing with the night light here. Another thing that I like in the Superliner 2 is that this closet space is actually open. So see, this is the closet here, but in the Superliner 2, this is open here, which actually makes your room feel like it's bigger because it protrudes, kind of juts out right here. So this wall is not here, which helps you to kind of set things on top that you can access easily. It's really hard to fit things into this closet space. It's pretty tiny. So I think it's a little bit better in the Superliner 2 for sure to have a little bit more space there. The other thing is this bed here. So the upper bunk, this is cast iron, so you're looking at this hard surface here. Personally, aesthetically, I think this is prettier, but in the Superliner 2, you will find that it has like a thin carpeting layer on here, kind of, I guess, just to make it a little bit softer if you knock your head on it or something like that. And then the top bunk actually has a little bit more room up here, Rob has said, than in the Superliner 2. You've got a little bit more space, headspace here. You can't quite sit up, but you have a little bit more room than you do in the Superliner 2 because you've got squared off corners as opposed to the rounded corners. But you do still have the netting and the little basket here, and you still have, of course, your little netting to hold you into place. But that's kind of a few of the differences of the things that you'll see between the Superliner 1 and the Superliner 2. I really still don't know which one I prefer, but I like both of them and they do have different great things about them. But we are enjoying our ride here on the California Zephyr. Let's see what else we get into.
I'm hanging out in one of the best places on the train, the observation car, open to coach and sleeper car passengers. There's tables and chairs where you can sit together.
Okay, so we finally tracked down one of the newly painted trains. Look at how cool that looks behind me. Give you guys a little better look here.
We made the slow ascent up to 7,000 feet to Donner Pass and Donner Lake, and this was of course the area made famous in the 1800s by the Donner Party, who got trapped up here by a snowstorm, and the scenery is just breathtaking, so we'll take a look at that.
So our dining car attendant just came by to take our dinner reservation, and she realized, which I hadn't realized, that we have a whole half a car to ourselves. So we're downstairs, and the people that are supposed to be in the family room did not get on, and the people that are supposed to be across the hall from us did not get on, and then the two rooms directly behind us are also both empty. So aside from those in the accessible room at the other end of the car, we're the only other people down here. So we basically have 3 bathrooms and a shower to ourselves.
We are now following the Truckee River through California as we approach Reno, and it is beautiful. There's all kinds of people tubing and enjoying the river as we go by on the train.
So we just chatted with the engineers, and they told us we're not actually using this new locomotive. We're actually transporting it out east from the West Coast, and it's going to Delaware, where they're going to actually finish the paint job on it. So it's kind of cool to be able to bring this along with us as we go from Emeryville all the way to Chicago.
We are riding through northern Nevada, and it's a pretty desolate area. There's salt flats and little shrubs, and that's about it. We have seen a few cars, right?
Yes, there seems to be like there's one car. It seems kind of lonely out here if you're driving. I don't know where they would stop. There's nowhere to stop. It's just the road, the desert, the salt flats.
I think we are near Elko, or getting near Elko, and the next big stop is going to be Salt Lake City in the middle of the night.
Okay, just woke up in Utah, I believe. At least from what I'm seeing out the window, looks like Utah. And gonna go get some breakfast and then hop in the shower and get cleaned up and get ready for the day. Okay, all refreshed and ready to go. Today is actually the prettiest part of this ride, as we're going to be stopping in Glenwood Canyon. Now, there's not a ton of stops on this side of the journey on the California Zephyr from Emeryville to Glenwood Springs. There's not a ton of fresh air breaks where you can hop off the train and, you know, get some fresh air, stretch your legs, or smokers smoking, that kind of stuff. So if you have, you know, the need to get off, it's a little bit more challenging on this part of it, but it's nice to be able to get out and get some fresh air. We're headed towards Glenwood Canyon right now. And we're gonna get off there and get some fresh air, walk around a little bit. It's always a nice refreshing area to step off of the train, and then we're gonna go grab some lunch, and then we'll continue on the journey.
Here you slow down the Colorado River. It's basically there to keep the erosion from tearing the highway apart and tearing these tracks apart. So basically this dam just has some blocks in between, and it slows down the Colorado River. Now this dam, if you see the sign off to the right, it says the Grand River. So this dam was actually built before the Colorado had its name. The Colorado River used to be known as the Grand River. So that dam was actually built, basically, I think it was 1913, I believe, 1913, and they finished it in 1916. So it's been there for quite a while. It's still up and running, still slows down the river, does its job. It also does divert water up to those peaches, all that peach trees. That's where that water goes up to keep the Palisade peaches going. Second, folks, we're going to go through Beaver Tunnel, the first tunnel we've gone through since leaving Grand Junction. Now once we go through this tunnel, folks, off to the left-hand side, it's up on a hill. It's kind of hard to see. There's a chimney up there. And that chimney is all that's remains of a town called Tunnel, Colorado. Now the only reason I even bring this up is because supposedly in Tunnel, Colorado, this is where Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid actually met. Butch was working for the railroad at the time, and Sundance actually worked for Colorado's version of the Pony Express. This is where they started the hole-in-the-wall gang, which led to their big criminal empire. Little hard to see. You'll see that chimney. It's off to the left-hand side once we go through this tunnel. It's about a quarter mile down past the tunnel. It's up on top of a hill. Little difficult to see, but it's all the remains of the entire town. The town was taken out by a massive landslide that destroyed everything back in 1924. And all that remains is the chimney that was connected to the post office.
We are in Glenwood Springs, and there are tons of people getting on the train here because this is it. This is the best stretch of railroad in the United States from here to Denver. So everybody wants to see that. We're excited. We're gonna go inside, make sure our cameras and our batteries are all charged up to capture this magnificent view.
Folks, here in just a minute, we're going to curve to the right here. We're going to see a big paddle wheel out here on our right hand side. Pretty cool picture coming up. Used to be an old hotel here too, and it burned down in the early 2000s. This is now, the paddle wheel is now on the historical society list. They actually gave the farmer here some extra money, and he actually did a heck of a job fixing it up. A big paddle wheel coming up on our right hand side. Alright folks, thought it was going to be a little late in the day, but obviously we're finding out why we call this part of the river Moon River instead of the Colorado River. Still some people out here having fun with us. They don't mean to offend anybody, but it's kind of a tradition to move the train as we go by. Obviously, we're all finding that out. Welcome to Moon River.
Just a couple things, folks, before I transition to our photo challenge. Just want to get everyone up to speed on how we're doing right now. Local time, we're approaching 6 o'clock. Now, Denver Union Station, our next major stop, I'm thinking right around 10, because we have some speed restrictions ahead of us. Now, if you've rode on the train before, folks, we're sometimes at the mercy of the weather and the freight traffic. And today we got some weather that is going to restrict our speed, which will not allow us to go at the normal rate of speed that we can travel in certain designated areas. Because when the tracks get real hot, they put out descriptions of levels of heat. So we're going to be approaching a level 2 heat restriction. Sometimes we've got to go 10 miles an hour, sometimes it's 50. So that's why we're going to get closer to 10 o'clock. That speed restriction is for about 11 miles at 10 miles when we're normally going 30. Okay, for those passengers looking to do the photo challenge, I will meet you in the observation car in about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. If you got a photo of 5 different animals and you want to show them to me, I will give you a souvenir. Take a look on the right-hand side real quick and look back. There's an old hot springs watering hole there.
It's a cool hike, folks, if you do ever get a chance to do it. I know a lot of people do like to do a lot of hiking in Colorado, folks, so this is the Lower Gore Canyon. And the hike basically goes from Radium up to the Azure Valley. And what we did when we came out up into the Azure Valley, we actually arranged for a guide to meet us there, and then we rafted all the way back down to our campsites. So it's a pretty cool deal. Hopefully some of you guys will come up here and try it out someday. Especially during the runoff, folks. It may not look like much down there today, but when the runoff comes, it's something coming through this little canyon. Now folks, some of the scenery here may look a little familiar to you if you've seen the movie Under Siege 2, Dark Territories with Steven Seagal. That movie was filmed up and down through this canyon. Under Siege 2, Dark Territories with Steven Seagal. Folks, when we come out of the Upper Gore Canyon, it's got a cool picture. If you look across the river and then back towards your right, you can see what's left of the original walk path that went all the way through here, where they took carts from one end of the canyon to the other. You can kind of see what's left of that trestle. over off the right-hand side, up against the rock. Now that path used to go all the way through the canyon down here. While they were building the tracks and putting these in the early 1800s, we used to take carts up and down the opposite side of the river and bring in supplies that way to the guys that were working out here off the tracks. You can imagine what that used to look like with the path all the way through that canyon. Now all that remains is that small little trestle. Actually in a small dead tree right here off to our left hand side. So you can see the one bald eagle right there. And one of the young ones is up in the nest still, right on the ledge. They basically look like giant crows, the young ones. They don't have their full head of the grays yet, so they don't have all the silver on their heads yet. They won't get that until they're about a year old.
Okay, we are trying out 2 new dishes to us on the traditional dining menu, and this is the Artisan grilled cheese. So there is some turkey in here and 2 different kinds of cheeses and bacon as well. And then it comes with some Terra chips and some coleslaw, which I've had the coleslaw before and that's really good, and we've had the chips before. I did try to order this once before, but there was a problem loading them onto the train on our previous ride, so I didn't get to have it before. I ended up having a kid's grilled cheese, and I kind of mishmashed my own with some vegetables, and that was really good. But now I'm going to get to try this one, and I'm excited because I really like turkey breast. And then Rob has got the Caesar salad, and you have the option of adding the pan roasted chicken to it, and it comes with a roll on the side. So this looks like basically a traditional Caesar salad that you would expect just about anywhere else. And then you've got the chicken on there if you want a little bit of protein. But I'm gonna go ahead and try this. Just as I expected. It's good. And it's got that nice, mix of taste between the turkey and the bacon.
I went ahead and did the conductor challenge on this train, which is to find 5 animals along the route and take a picture with your phone. Went up there and submitted them to the conductor and got a prize, which was this railroad spike from the California Zephyr line. So that is really pretty cool. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it or where I'm going to put it. That's the next riddle I have to solve, or to pack it. Or I may just end up giving it to someone who's going home, which is more likely.
So we're stopped here in Winter Park, Colorado. It's a very short break. We only have 4 minutes here, but just wanted to point out that this is the highest elevation Amtrak station, which is kind of cool.
Stay in the car that you are presently in. Thank you.
Okay, conductor just came on and told us we are in the Moffat Tunnel. So I got this bright light on me because it's pitch dark inside the tunnel. It's going to take us about 12 minutes to go from end to end, and it's right after, we're going from west to east, so it's right after the Winter Park stop. And he did also tell us to avoid having exhaust fumes coming into the train, not because they're harmful, but because they stink. They ask us to stay in whatever car that we're in and not to open either end of the doors, so everybody stays put until we get through to the other side of the tunnel.
Third longest in the United States. Construction began back in 1923 and they completed on February 24th, 1928. But it did have flooding inside this tunnel, folks. It was so severe it actually stopped work for about 3 months. They realized the water was actually seeping in from the 2 lakes that are up above us at the Continental Divide. So they went up there and they lined those 2 lakes with sheep manure, and it actually worked. They had no more flooding once they did do that. They lined those 2 lakes and had no further problems. Now folks, I do suggest if you are check out those two lakes. I suggest you do not drink the water.
Quick stop here in Omaha, Nebraska, and it's time to talk some numbers. So we paid $1,028 for this roomette for all the way from Emeryville to Chicago. And it was originally $1,200 and something dollars, but we did have a companion coupon that we put on there to make it a little bit cheaper. So that was a good deal. If you're wondering how you get those, you can get them through like having the credit card or through having enough points and miles to get status. Now we did get the same exact trip last summer for $560 on the buy one get one free sale. If you want details on that, we have a link to that on our website. That'll be in the description, how that buy one get one free sale works. Didn't have that going right now though, so we paid just a little over $1,000 for this room. All right, we are stopped here in Omaha still, and as you can see behind me, there is some engine work going on. And interestingly, we've been, one of the engines is down, but we are being towed by a BNSF engine, and ironically we are also towing the brand new Amtrak engine. So it's about the most eclectic group of locomotives you'll find on a train anywhere. We're still not really sure what is going to happen. We've been here, they've been working on this for a few hours, and we're not sure if this could turn into a bus situation or they're going to get it fixed. We're still hoping they're going to get it fixed and get us back on the road to Chicago tonight sometime. And good thing is staff's been treating us well, and we're optimistic we'll be going soon.
But we made it.
All right, they just called all aboard, so we're about to get back on. So since our train is about 9 hours late, we're going to be on for one more meal, and that is dinner tonight. And they had a different menu. We've been doing traditional dining all the last couple days, and today they said we had a lot of new choices. We're not really sure why there were new choices, but there are. So we have the beef stew, which is what I got. There was also a mac and cheese and a couple other things, a chili, and just some pasta with chicken. So, and Allie went ahead and got the chili with a bunch of toppings, and they had a roll, and then we got some drinks, and they also had some desserts. And he just said they found some extra desserts, so we're not even sure what these are. So this is a mystery opening for all of us.
Ooh,
and
cheesecake.
It's cheesecake. Hey, door number one, cheesecake.
And I'm guessing that's chocolate because it says Choco.
Let's see, this is also not on the menu. I don't know where they get this from, but you won't find it on any Amtrak menu that we've seen. It is a chocolate lava cake. Ooh. So there you have it. Somehow we were late, out of a little bit of food, but we came up with all new meal choices, and it looks really, really good. So we're gonna go ahead and eat right now. We have made it to beautiful Ottumwa, Iowa. And you might be able to tell from the sky, it is sunset time. Sun is setting behind me, even though we were supposed to be in Chicago in the afternoon. So we're around about 9 hours behind. Tip for you for this, if this is your first time going to be riding on one of these trains, is don't plan anything the day of arrival. So don't plan any type of flight or big transfer you need to make, because there's a decent chance you could be a little bit late. So Amtrak staff has been treating us really, really well on board, even through these delays. And we've just really enjoyed the ride, because we are not scheduled to leave Chicago for 2 more days. We've learned our lesson in the past, don't make a tight connection. So we've just been enjoying the extra time and having a good time on board. Fed us a couple extra meals, and it's been great. Next stop will be in Chicago. It's going to be probably after midnight and really dark, so we're going to sign off here from Iowa. It has been a great trip. Thanks for coming along with us, and we will see you on the next video.
All right, guys, so you just heard Rob say that we were planning on getting in at about midnight. Well, there were more delays. So we actually ended up getting in a little closer to about 3 a.m. to Chicago. But our attendant was absolutely amazing, and he actually strongly encouraged us to call Amtrak after, you know, the next day after we got some sleep, to call them up and just let them know what happened and see what they would do. And so I did just that. The next day, after some coffee and a snack, I called 1-800-USA Rail, and the department there that they put me through to, the complaint department, or I can't remember what they call it, but anyways, they put me through to a different department, not the person you get when you call 1-800-USA Rail. And they made things right. They gave us a $500 voucher, which made our trip only $500. So basically gave us half of our money back in a voucher to use for a future trip, which we are already making plans for. So that was really good. It was really a pleasant trip overall, even though we had so many delays and so many different types of complications. They did take care of us, like we said, and definitely worth calling and letting them know when something goes wrong during your trip.